Hey guys, thanks for coming back. Join us here at Salty Ginger Talk. Glad to have you back. So, today we're going to talk about your reaction to negative interactions or negative words. So, think about it this way: if words control you, everyone else controls you. And that's not a good place to be. So, when we were kids and we were I don't know, at least when I was a kid, there was the old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me or words will never hurt me. Somehow, as adults, we forget that. Words are just words. And yes, we use them to communicate and we use them to convey how we feel and how we think about other people and how we see the world and what we think about things. And that's great. But they're just words. They're someone's opinion, your opinion, another person's opinion, and the value that you place on them is entirely up to you. And the way you react to them is entirely up to you. And I think it's a good thing to keep in mind. It's a great way to approach life. If you keep letting other people control you by using words, even terrible words, like the N word gets thrown around, or there's a word that starts with C that a lot of women really hate. And like, I get it, those are bad words and whatnot, but they only have power if you give them power. And I think far too many people get triggered by those words and react to them emotionally. And anyone can control a person that reacts to those words simply by using those words. And I don't think that's a place that you want to be. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk a little bit about just kind of the thought process and some things that you can do to maintain control and then change your thought process or change your dynamic when you find yourself in situations where people are using language or saying things to you that you don't like. You might find it offensive, you might find it hurtful, you might find it like a personal attack. Hey, look, got it. And it might be all of those things. It might be one of those things or all of those things. Even if it is, you still have absolute control over how you react to it, how you process it, and how you allow it or don't allow it to impact you. So we're going to dive into that. So first thing to think about is you can't control what other people say. You can't. Like, they're going to say what they're going to say. You don't have any control over that whatsoever. And in sticking with the things, think about the mantras that we've talked about on this podcast. One of the things we talk about pretty regularly is you have a choice on focusing on things that you have control over and not letting things you don't have control over get to you. And this is firmly in category B in terms of you don't have control over what people say. So, focusing on what they say or allowing it to negatively impact you really does not make much sense when you stop and think about it. But what you do have control over is how you react to those situations, or more importantly, in my estimation, don't react to those situations. So, think about it. Think about it that way. Those words only have power. Comments only have power if you give them power. So let's start there. Let's start with that premise. You don't have control over what people say, so you shouldn't worry a whole bunch about what other people say. So yeah, that's point. I guess that's point one. Second, nobody's out to get you. Nobody. There is no nefarious deep state that is targeting you. That's trying to make your life miserable, or they lay awake at night thinking about you. You're just not that important. Nobody's that important. I hate to break it to you, but most people are consumed with what they have going on in their life, how they think about things, the things that are positively or negatively impacting them. That's what most people are spending their time thinking about. Not you, not your situation, not what you have going on. Which means most of the time when you hear a comment, it's generally an offhand comment without a lot of thought put into it, without a lot of background behind it. And it's just silly to react to those things in a negative way or react to them at all, really, positive or negative. If you get too excited because people give you platitudes or you get too negative because people say negative things about you, I think both those things are an unhealthy way to react to feedback from the outside world. Don't get me wrong, it's great to, if someone says something nice, compliments you, gives you kind words, that's great. There's nothing wrong with feeling good about that. But getting too excited about it I think you're going to wind up in a bad spot because most people, they say those things in passing, but they don't really mean them. And they're certainly not, most of the time, not willing to act on them or see them through. So, no one's out to get you. So stop thinking that. Stop thinking that way. Um, Two, quit taking things personally. It's that simple. Just don't take them personal. It's only personal if you make it personal. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, people can only drive you crazy if you give them the keys. And, it's a great way to think about it. Even when things are negative and you're in a situation where, like, it's not fun. So I'll give you a personal example. So I've coached a lot of stuff in my day. When my youngest son was 9, I was coaching an all-star team that he was on. I coached first base. And my son, so I guess an important anecdote here is, for whatever reason, in this particular league, Cal Ripken, the coaches also had to wear shirts with their names on them. So I had my name on the back of my shirt, and my son had his name on the back of his shirt. And so he had, it was very funny to me, at least, he had a very kind of high pitched, nasally, piercing voice that he could make. And he would do it in support of his teammate. He would say, "Come on, so and so," or "Get a hit, so and so," or "You're doing a good job, so and so." But he would say it so loud and so nasally. It was very annoying, and he was good at it. But we made sure he only said it positively. He was never allowed to say negative stuff about other people. It's just not, not good sportsmanship, not a good way to go. They're 9-year-old kids. Nothing wrong with cheering on your teammates. Well, a coach on another team did not like this, and he went to the umpire and said, "Hey, that kid's got to stop saying that, making those noises." And the umpire came over to our bench and said, "Hey, who's the kid that's making those noises? You got to stop." I said, "Show it to me in the rules. Show me in the rules where he's got to stop, and we'll stop him." He's positive. He's encouraging his teammates. He's not doing it when the other pitcher is winding up and delivering a pitch. There's absolutely nothing against it. So, no, he's not going to stop. Absolutely not. No chance he'll stop. If you want to kick me out, that's fine. Like, if you want to kick me out of a 9-year-old game for letting my kid cheer, that's up to you. But we're not stopping him. And the umpire, to his credit, said, "You know what? You're right. There's really nothing against the rules." He said, "Make sure he doesn't do it when the pitcher's in his wind up." I said, "Got it. We'll make sure of that." So the other coach was not happy. Let's say he was not happy. So I was coaching first base at the time. Our team was in the third base dugout. Their team was in the first base dugout. So every inning, when our team would hit, I'd go stand right by their dugout. And their coach, the other coach, would say, "She's ruining the game. She's got to stop making those noises. She can't talk like that." Essentially, basically trying to call my son a little girl. So whatever. I was fortunate that when I played baseball, I was a closer for a couple of years. And for those that don't know, a closer is the one that goes into a game in very intense situations. You only go in when the game is close, and it's your job to close the game out because it's close, and that's why they call it a closer. Well, emotions run high. People are yelling at you while you're warming up. People are yelling at you. Look, I've had sodas dumped on me and stuff thrown at me and all sorts of names called at me. So I've had a lot of firsthand experience on how to block stuff out and just focus on the task at hand and not let stuff affect me personally. So I didn't say a word. I didn't look at the guy. I didn't acknowledge the guy. I didn't say a word. We wound up winning the game, and he was so angry. Like, he looked like a tomato. His face looked like a tomato when we were going through the line, because not only he had to listen to this all game, but they lost, and they were eliminated after that. And when we shook hands, I just said, "Hey, enjoy your summer. Good game. Enjoy your summer." And he just was so angry. But, quit taking it personal. It's not about you. It's generally about them. People that need to pick on you or say negative things to you, that's almost always from a place of pretty high insecurity and pretty high self doubt. They're trying to tear you down to make themselves feel better. And maybe they need that. I don't know. It doesn't bother me a whole bunch when people do that stuff. Certainly not fun sometimes, but so what? Um, but remember, it's generally about them and the way they feel about that particular situation, that particular day. Maybe they've been going through a terrible time, and they attack you because their spouse just left them, or they've got a kid that's hooked on drugs and they don't know how to deal with it, or they lost their job and they're worried about making their mortgage payment, or maybe they're just a jerk. I don't know. Whatever the reasons are, they are. But you don't have control over that, so quit worrying about it. And again, it's not about you. It's almost always about them. And those things only matter if you let them matter. So, think about it that way. Another thing to do is consider the source. If someone close to you says something negative, yeah, that hurts sometimes. I don't like hearing negative stuff from my wife, from my kids, from my family, from close friends. But like, I think it's important for people to be honest with you and give you feedback so that if you need to make adjustments, if you're off course and you may not realize it, they may be being, they may care about you and may step in and say, hey, you got to right the ship here. You got some problems and you got to get this stuff fixed or this particular issue fixed, whatever the case may be. But if it's not those people, why do you care what they think? Like, seriously, why do you care what they think? And why does it matter? Why does it matter to you? Consider the source. Is this some random person or someone you work with that you don't think very highly of? Then why do you care? Like, why do you care at all what they think or what they say? Why would you let someone who you don't hold in high regard control your emotions, ruin your day, make you feel a specific way? Why would you do that? Why would you give them that power? That's up to you to give them that power or to say, whatever, let it roll off your back just like a duck. So, okay, that all sounds great. But the reality is, when we're in some of those situations, yeah, you can feel the emotion building up in you. It's normal to want to retort, as Jules says in Pulp Fiction. Allow me to retort. Yeah, that's cool in Pulp Fiction, but that's a script in a movie. In the real world, you almost always feel worse after you get in those arguments, not better. You almost always feel worse after you make the snide, sarcastic comment or the witty comeback. You generally don't feel better, you feel worse. Or somewhere down the road, you regret it. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have reacted that way. So don't. And so here's some techniques you can use when you're in those situations to not react. Like, not react at all, good or bad, just not react at all. First one is take a breath. Literally take a breath. Take a deep breath, exhale. If you need to do it again, take another one. By the time you do that 5 times, you're going to feel very different and you're going to feel a lot better than you did before you did it. And it's a great technique. You don't owe that person a response. You don't owe that person a reaction. In fact, I would argue it's best if you don't give them a reaction. It's one of the worst punishments you can give a person who's trying to push your buttons is to not let it affect you. By not reacting at all, you are absolutely kind of reversing it and back on them and forcing them to deal with it. So just take a breath. Take 10 breaths if you need to. Do what you need to do. But don't react. Just don't react. Take a breath. Change your mindset. How can you change your mindset? Take a walk. Walk away. Think about something positive. Think about a great vacation you took. Think about a great moment you shared with a loved one or a friend. Think about a trip that you have planned or a fun activity you've got coming up. Change your mindset and push the negative stuff out of your mind. Push the negative reaction out of your mind and think about it. Think about something positive that's going to put happiness and better thoughts into your mind. Listen to music. Music has a great mood changer. So whatever music you're into, doesn't matter. Is it rap? Cool. Is it country? Cool. Is it rock and roll? Cool. Is it classical? Cool. Who cares? Listen to whatever music gets you in a good mood. Everyone's got a go-to song or album or group or genre that puts them in a mood that they like to be in. Just do that. Listen to music for 5-10 minutes. Change your mindset. Get your mind off of what you just went through. Engage in physical activity. Go for a walk. Go for a run. Ride a bike. Go kayaking. Go mountain climbing. Lift weights. Whatever it is that you do for physical activity, do that. As we've talked about before, physical activity, exercise releases both dopamine, serotonin. Yep. Great stuff, right? Those are endorphins that change your mood into a positive mood. So go do something that changes the makeup of your bloodstream and gets those negative thoughts out of your head. Another thing you can do is engage in an activity that requires a lot of concentration. Put a jigsaw puzzle together. Do a crossword puzzle. Do Sudoku. Whatever. Do something that forces you to focus on the task at hand. Work through a spreadsheet. You've got a difficult project to work through a couple of pages of that project. That's going to force you to stop thinking about other stuff and focus on that thing that's right in front of you. And that's a great way to change your mood. Listen to a comedian, right? We've all got YouTube. We've all got access to the internet, Wi-Fi somewhere. You can listen to a comedian. That's a great way to change your mood to a positive. Everyone's got a favorite comedian, and whatever it is that you find funny, awesome. Doesn't matter to me in the least. It's just good that you have that available to you, and you should use it. You should use it to change your mood. It's a great way to go. Another thing to think about is you got to value your own opinion. If someone says something negative to you and it's true, okay, do some soul searching and go, okay, they bring up a valid point. I need to work on whatever that particular thing was. But again, I'm going to say, unless that person's important to you and part of your inner circle, why do you really care what they think? If someone in your inner circle or someone really close to you says something like that, yeah, that's worth some more inspection and some deeper thought. But if not, what's your opinion? What do you think? If that person's all wet, just say, whatever, they're all wet. I'm not going to listen to that knucklehead. And don't. Just choose not to. Value your opinion, not their opinion. Value your thoughts, not their thoughts. Value your self worth and words, not their worth of you and words. What do you care? Why do you care? And then lastly, the last thing to think about, and I do this a lot, and it's just the absolute truth, and it applies to all of us. And you might not like to hear it, but 100 years from now, we'll all be dead. Anyone who knows anything about you will be dead. Uh, no one's going to remember any of the stuff that happened to us on the face of the earth. You think about it, there's been about 100 billion people that have lived on the face of the earth since mankind crawled out of the primordial ooze, or God put Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Whatever your beliefs are, doesn't matter. There's been about 100 billion people that have lived. How much do you know about any of them that lived before you? How much do you know about the 8 billion or so people that live on the face of the earth right now? Almost nothing. You're in that same group to everybody else. Nobody knows. 100 years from now, nobody's going to know any of this stuff is going on. Think about it from that perspective, and you realize how stupid and silly it is to waste any time thinking about or reacting to the words that other people say to you. It just doesn't make sense. Um, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. And when you're done throwing your pity party, your tantrum, whatever it is, however you react to it, you're going to wind up right back in the same situation you are, but you're going to have less energy to expend on the things you actually have control over. So don't waste your time on things you don't have control over, and don't let other people control you with their words. It's a fool's errand. It's useless. You will never feel better from doing it. You'll only feel worse. So just stop doing it. It's that simple. So, gave you some techniques to try to refocus and think differently when you wind up in those situations. And I hope you guys find those helpful. So that's it for today, guys. Don't forget to check out our website, saltygingertalk.com. We got links to all our social media on there. We got links to all our content is there, and you can sign up for our newsletter there. So don't forget to check us out. We appreciate you joining us here on the podcast. We look forward to seeing you next time. Everybody have a great day.